Welcome back to Queen City Corals, guys. Today we have a special episode where we are going to a show. We're heading to the Southern Aquatic Expo down in Columbia, South Carolina. It's about an hour-and-a-half drive, and we are getting packed up right now. And I'm going to kind of show you guys a little bit behind the scenes, do a little kind of vlog for this show that we're going to. Right now, we are pretty much ready to go. We'll start loading up the van. We're going to get our corals ready. I've got the show tanks in. We got to fill up the van with some more water. We've got a whole list of things that I pack every time. I've got a nice checklist that we use to make sure that we get everything, because it is definitely a lot of stuff. So basically the way we transport these corals is we've got these coolers right here. You can see I got a few of them. And we fill them up with water inside, and then we've got these racks that go perfectly in the coolers. I'll put the orange filter on for you guys. We've got all of our corals pretty much ready. This rack has some big stuff in it, so scolies, acanthos, endophilias, things like that. And we bag those up. So we've got them bagged up here along with some anemones and stuff that we'll put in these baskets. And basically we're just going through, grabbing all the corals, filling up the racks, and getting them ready to put into the coolers. We'll take those down, and we'll put them into the tank there. As you guys can see, we've got quite a bit of equipment. This is kind of our messy electrical bin, so lights, things like that. We've got our little reactors, power heads, heaters, and then we've got more kind of miscellaneous stuff. So we've got cups, we've got our tablecloths, bags, all sorts of fun stuff, business cards, stickers, basically everything that we need for the show, for bagging up corals, actually setting up our booth, things like that. I'm gonna go through, make sure that we actually have everything packed up in these bins. We'll load them up into the van. We'll load the corals up into another car because unfortunately it doesn't all fit in there with our new larger jug. And then we will head to Columbia, and I will see you guys down in Columbia, South Carolina.
A few minutes later.
So last year when I was going to this show, I thought I had a flat tire. We were fine, it was just low. Didn't matter, I couldn't get the spare tire out anyways. This time, we've got a little bit more of a fun problem. Luckily, I realized it before we left. The van battery has died, so it will not start. We have a jump starter in the van, of course. However, that jump starter is dead. So we are currently charging it up, and hopefully we can jump start the van. And I'm hoping that that charges the battery enough to where at least we can start the van a couple more times.
A few moments later.
All right, guys, we have officially made it to Columbia. As you can see, the van made it here. We got all of our stuff out. We got the corals. We'll bring those in. I'm gonna start setting up the tanks, and then we'll fill them up with water and get rolling for the show. Well, I think we might have a brief intermission where I can kind of take you guys around, show you a little bit of the behind the scenes here. I had a heater in the van, but it's powered by a little battery backup portable power unit, and I guess that thing kicked off because this water is definitely cold. This is the furthest show we do now, which is nice. We used to do a few other further shows, but they really just weren't worth it for us. And obviously partially motivated by the fact that me and Kevin hate driving. So that is definitely one of the primary motivating factors there. To be honest with you guys, we didn't do great last year at this show. It definitely wasn't a bad show. I've definitely been to some bad shows. And this one wasn't a bad show. It wasn't like, oh, no one showed up. It was more so just kind of, I think our spot wasn't great. The things we brought didn't really match the market here. I think you kind of want to do, it's really hard to guess what people are going to want. You don't really know what to bring specifically. So it can be kind of tough at times to figure that out, but it definitely is something that you can learn from. A lot of times, especially in these vlogs, talk about how people don't like weird stuff, and I think it's messed up. But regardless of what the cause was, it was something that we didn't sell that I thought we would sell, and that's part of, you know, kind of why I think we didn't do great at this show last year. So we kind of adapted our strategy. We brought a lot more Euphilia. People love Euphilia. So we brought some hammers, some frog spawns, and of course torches. So hopefully people will like those a little bit more than some of the stuff we brought last year. But I mean, honestly, even the same show year over year, a lot of times we'll have different things that people like. You know, I brought the same stuff to shows, and sometimes it sells out, and sometimes we barely sell any, even if it's, you know, the same show at the same time of year. For whatever reason, you know, tastes change. Different people might come to the show for whatever reason, and you kind of just got to roll with the punches for shows, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, and I mean, that's, you know, kind of why we don't focus as much on shows, is because I'm not really a gambler. I would rather be able to have a more stable and consistent way to sell corals. It's definitely less finicky than the shows. And also, you know, sometimes people don't show up to shows. Sometimes it's just a low attendance show, and you know, there's a lot of competition at these shows, and sometimes it can be kind of a race to the bottom on pricing, especially if everyone kind of brought the same thing, which, you know, definitely can be a good thing, because sometimes prices are overinflated, but sometimes it just ends up with no one making any money, and it's just not sustainable when you have, you know, people driving 8 hours and making $200. And so that's kind of, I guess, my fear with shows in general is there, I don't know, the longevity of shows. I think there's kind of a shift towards online, not only retail, but just online in general. There's some shows that rely on a local reefing community to turn out customers to the shows. And, you know, shows are also a really great way to interact with people. It's a really great community builder. And I think as things kind of have shifted towards Facebook groups and, you know, Instagram pages and all that, you know, shows have kind of not necessarily fallen to the wayside, but become less prominent. You know, is just not necessarily a bad thing. I think it can hurt people's abilities to make friends in this hobby, things like that. But it's just a change that we and others have to kind of adapt to and get used to. But I definitely recommend going to shows. It's really fun. Like I said, it's a great time. You can meet people. Anyways, we'll get the lights put on. We'll probably get our banner put up. And then I will probably see you guys again once we get that set up, unless I want to ramble some more. So yeah, we'll see you guys then. It is 8 o'clock right now, and we've got pretty much all the corals out. We're putting out our anemones, as well as some of the big stuff that we bagged up earlier. So we've got all the racks in, all the anemone baskets in. We brought some inverts and stuff, and those are floating in the tank just so that they don't get too cold overnight, and then we'll put them out on the table. We bagged them up with oxygen, so they'll be fine. But here is our booth. We got our banner up. I'll probably go through and center that. I gotta add some little things down here because our banner likes to fold in because we roll it up. But so far, it is looking like it normally does, which is not bad. Our water is up to temp. We've got all of our filters in there. I brought a little bit of biological media. You guys can see there the Marine Pure bio balls, just to kind of help. But honestly, with this kind of setup, we've forgotten the bio balls and everything's been fine. just because it's such a short time that it's set up for. And all the corals really provide their own nutrient export. And again, because we don't have any like fish or anything, it's usually fine. So I'm just gonna kind of show you guys the way we set up. So this venue is really nice because it has a big garage door here. So we're able to just pull in the van, take it over here and unload all of our stuff and then pump out our water because we do maintenance and things like that. We've got a big old jug in our van with hoses that we run. So we were able to fill it up really easily. The water got a little bit cold on the drive down, which was not ideal. So that's why it kind of took us so long to get everything settled in. And we also left a little later than we wanted to. So it took about 2 hours for the water to heat up, which usually we don't want. It's usually better if it's a little less time, but unfortunately that's just kind of what we dealt with. So just to give you guys a little bit of background for the show, this is the entrance over here. So when people will walk in, they'll come in through here, present their ticket, buy another ticket, you know, whatever. They've got t-shirts for sale, and then you'll come in, you've got some booths laid out. As you guys can see, some of the vendors are already set up and everything. Some of them got set up a lot earlier than we did. Some are still setting up. And some vendors, as you guys can see, aren't even set up yet. There's a couple booths that are still empty. This is usually a little bit more common with the freshwater just because it's not as much of a hassle to set up the day of. And with especially fish in general, usually the saltwater side, it's more corals, less fish. But with fish, they kind of are there and will color up pretty quickly, whereas corals, you kind of need to give them a little bit of time to actually color up. So it's better if you get your corals in the night before like we did here. A lot of times the corals won't open up fully if you set up the day of. But as you can see, some of the people are doing that just because they're local. So it's, you know, a 20-minute trip. So the corals won't really be that angry and they'll open up just fine. I like setting up the day before, but as you can see, we've got quite a few booths set up. I know I made my rounds while we had things getting set up, but honestly guys, this is a little bit sparse. Usually more of the vendors are set up at this point. I know one vendor at least is coming pretty late because his flight got delayed. So that's the booth next to us. But we've got a pretty good selection of booths that are set up. Some names that I've seen before, some names that are new. So it'll be nice once all these lights come on, obviously, to see what the corals that they brought are. I got to the shop at 9 a.m. this morning. As I said, it's 8 o'clock, 8:15. So that's part of why I don't love shows, is because it's a lot of work, especially when you're driving, commuting somewhere. You know, some of it is downtime. We were kind of just waiting for the water to heat up. But even during that time, we were still doing stuff. We were setting up the lights, setting up the banner, cleaning up the giant mess that we made, things like that that take a bit of time and aren't super fun. So it's definitely a lot of work. I hope it's a good show. There's quite a few coral vendors here, probably like 20 or so. And then there's also some vendors that do dry goods. The dry goods vendors usually do a little bit of both. So you can see here's Aquarium Specialty. They put on the show and they brought some corals in this tank here, but they also have dry goods. They are a dry goods seller, so they sell dry goods online as well as wholesale. I really like them because they're right here in South Carolina. So even when we do like UPS ground, we get it the next day basically because they're so close to us. So I definitely recommend them if you guys are local to me, close to us. They have a nice selection of different items, obviously, and a good assortment of dry goods. So there's also some vendors like Fishy Business. Same thing, they do dry goods as well to these shows. And sometimes they have some freshwater displays set up. They might set those up later. And of course, we got the raffle. There's also a freshwater section. Honestly, I know if I was a freshwater hobbyist, I would definitely be there because you can get some really great deals at these shows. Freshwater fish are a lot easier to breed. And obviously plants are easier to grow than corals, so you can get some really great deals there because they grow so fast, and a lot of it is grown by people, which is really cool. So the freshwater fish section is usually packed, and as I said, a lot of them set up the day of, so they'll set up tomorrow morning, so I can't really show you guys anything right now. The vendors that are setting up tonight are still setting up for the most part, but yeah, we will see how the show goes, and I will see you guys in the morning after hopefully I get some sleep. All right, guys, we are back here at the show. It is 11:30 right now, and our boy Aqua Ops just got here, so we are helping him set up. As I said, you make a lot of friends at the shows, and it is definitely nice because you can help each other out. So we are here helping him out, unpack, because his flight got delayed, which is super fun. And yeah, so we're gonna set this up, and we are gonna get his corals floated to the water, temperature acclimated. He does a lot of high-end sticks, so we definitely want to make sure they are nice and acclimated because we don't want them dying. So let's get this set up. All right, guys, we are back here at the venue. It is 7:30 a.m. right now. We ended up getting back to the hotel at about 2 a.m. Got a nice 4 hours of sleep, and then we are back here at the venue. We've got some cleaning up to do, and then we are gonna probably look around, walk the show a little bit, check things out. I'll show you guys around once some of the other vendors get here. There's still a couple that are setting up this morning. There's one booth setting up now, and then the tank lights are starting to come on, so should be able to see some corals soon. All right, guys, it is the end of the show. We're getting ready to pack up. It was a good show. It was pretty busy, a lot of people, a lot of new faces that we met, and had a good time. I picked up a few corals, which is always fun, but we are getting ready to pack up. So the way we do this is basically the reverse of how we did this originally. We just go through, bag up all the bigger pieces, and then we will fill up the coolers with these racks, put the tank water in there, break down everything, and then we're gonna go through. We'll dump out our old water, pack everything up into the van, and be on our way back to Charlotte. As you can see, we got a little bubble show here. We just finished pretty much packing up. Everything is ready to go in the van. We got the corals loaded up. As you can see, the show is pretty much empty now, for the most part. A couple people still packing up. Luckily, we are pretty much finished. Overall, it was a pretty good show. I definitely enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed my kind of rambling. I know for part of it, I think the camera was out of focus. But hopefully, you guys kind of got to see what the shows are like, why the shows are a lot of work, why we don't do a lot of shows. And if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe as well as like the video. Leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions about the shows or anything. And I will see you guys in the next video.